Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of my How To series, where I discuss practical spirituality and mysticism. And on today's episode, I am doing a solo episode where I am talking about the one surefire way to develop your psychic abilities. This is probably one of the most important tools that you can develop in order to really tune in to someone's energy field and the messages that are appropriate for them in the present moment. So join me today as we dive in to how to develop your psychic abilities. When it comes to developing a psychic ability, and this is really for anyone. So rather than saying psychic, I want to say your intuitive abilities, your innate ability to read someone's energy and to read where they're at in their lives. And guess what? It's really simple. We actually need to utilize this tool every single day, but it is underutilized in the important ways that we can be able to really see where someone's coming from and what they need at the time. And that simple tool is called listening. And what I'm referring to within that is being able to listen from an observational standpoint without judgment, with a clear filter, and removing yourself from the experience. Because when we are listening to somebody and we cannot be fully present with them and listening to the vibrations that are coming from them, and we listen to simply the words that they're speaking, things can tend to get a little bit jumbled up. We can tend to utilize our own filters, our own life experience, and the judgments that we still have about ourselves within that listening experience. So I've been really working on myself, and this is a constant practice. I am always trying to stay very present and listening to someone from an observational standpoint, removing the analyzation and removing the judgments. For when we step aside from that place of ourself and we really tune into the place of the person in the present moment, we can receive the vibration of the energy they're putting off, not simply just the words that they're speaking. And when they put off that energy, we are able to open our field and take on that energy and listen through our hearts, not just listen with our ears. Because when we listen with our ears, again, we can tend to get a little not judgmental but analyzing, and we don't simply observe the situation, we place a bunch of thoughts on it. So what's really cool about the work that I do is that I'm forced to be in a place of presence with people, and I have to listen wholeheartedly to the energy that they're emitting. Not the words that they're speaking, but the energy behind the thing that they're saying. So even when people are telling me a life story within some of my regression sessions, it is very important that I'm in tune with the energy that's behind the story that they're speaking. They'll speak certain words. Certain words have vibration, of course, but those stories tend to have an energy that really backs them up. And it's important that we tune into that energy by simply listening to somebody. So when it comes to personal relationships, people can tend to take things personally, right? Personal relationships. So when they're listening to somebody and they are trying to resolve a conflict or come to an understanding, it's really easy for people to stand in their earth self, in their humanized self, to the needs and desires of their wants. And when that happens, we tend to not listen to everything that the person is saying. We tend to pick out the pieces that we want to hear, that we're tuned into. And remember, everything is vibrational resonance. So if we're listening to somebody, but we're in a state of our own dramas or our own conflict, we are only on a vibrational frequency that can tune into that kind of information. So the person could be saying some really good constructive stuff, but we can tend to pick out the words and the pieces that we choose to filter, right? And then we create the narrative of our own story. And remember that everyone does live in their own little world, their own universe, and everyone is having a different perspective of the same situation. So how do we solve having a different perspective of the same situation, we must be able to listen. We must be able to be silent, to be quiet, and to simply observe what is taking place with the energy exchange along with the words. Because, of course, those words carry vibration and they're going to transmit some kind of energy as well. But I found that the only way that I can truly help people, and even when I'm doing a card reading for somebody, a past life regression work, or an energy clearing session, or a channeling session with somebody, is that I must be fully open to listening to them, to hearing them. And so that takes a level of being able to tune out the inner voices, being able to take all of that stuff, all of that noise that's within our own heads, and we kind of have to clump it all together and put it to the side. So you are able to take all the thoughts and all the things that are going on within your head and being able to step it aside, allowing those things to move to the side. And you know what I usually do before I work with anybody is I kind of proclaim or affirm that I'm an open and honest and clear channel. I tune into my heart, I tune into my breath, I tune into my body so that I'm here in the present rather than being distracted by things that I might have been working out before this or the thoughts that have been going on within my mind throughout the day. Because it is important that we are a clear channel so that we can listen to the thoughts, the feelings, and desires of another person. We must be able to honor that exchange of energy. And the reason why I say that this is one of the strongest components to psychic ability is that when you listen to somebody, again, you're tuning into their field. You're becoming immersed with their energy field, and you can pick up the honest information that's coming from them. You get to feel what they feel. You get to understand them without the filter that you arrive with. It allows us to really tune in. So, a really good tool for this, and most people that I work with will know this about me, I'll look directly at your eyes. I look directly in your eyes because it allows me to stay within this energy exchange through the eyes. So I'm seeing you in so many different ways. So I will stay locked into there so that I'm fully present and that I'm receiving the information not only from your eyes, but from your voice and from your heart. That is how I'm able to pick up the information of where in the body that some of these traumas or energies are existing and where to go from there. Because we cannot take every single person and every single situation in a clinical textbook sense. Because guess what? Human beings aren't a textbook. So we cannot sit there and be like, oh, well, the book says, mm, so this says that because of that, this means this. And as that has a place, what is more important is that we tune into the energy of the person. And this component is so overlooked because people are trying to do things by the book or the right way. But then when we do that, we're completely negating the present moment. So as you take that information, you also want to bring that what feels right and what resonates from that textbook information and bring it together with sitting with the person in the present moment. A person can receive information right now and be in one place, and within 30 minutes or less, you can have a completely different perspective where something just clicked and it changed over. So the next time we meet, it's important that I'm listening to where you're at in the present moment and looking at how far you've come, and that you recognize those things too. So not only are we listening to each other, but because it is an exchange, it's listening to each other. It's not me just listening to you. It's not just about energy exchange, it's about trust. Because if a person doesn't fully trust the environment or doesn't trust the person, then they're not going to be to that open space of receptive listening. So it's important that we find ourselves in a place of trust within ourselves to be transparent and open and honest so that we can attract and have that reflected back to us with the person that we're speaking with. So I'm taking this information and I'm grounding it in a way that we can all access to be able to tune into our own abilities. I want you to be able to take this information and take it out on the streets with your relationships, with your work. And I want you to be able to tune into the energy of another person or place. So even if it's individual, I want you to be able to use these listening skills. Look at their eyes, tune into their energy, focus on your body. Where are you feeling their energy within your body? Where does it feel comfortable? Where does it feel uncomfortable? The more you can actively listen to a person, the more you're actually tuning into your own intuitive gifts and powers. These abilities are things that everyone has. Some are stronger than others, but we are able to really develop them when we practice them in our daily life. So, what I want you to do is practice really listening to a person, really seeing the story in your head rather than just listening to what they're saying, taking the information. I want you to practice being them. I want you, as they're telling their story, to walk through the experience as if you're seeing it through their eyes. Because when you do that, you are going to pick up on the information of what they are feeling. So when I do past life regressions on people, they're in a deep state of meditation, right? And I'm taking them through and I'm asking them open-ended questions. The only way I know how to ask the next question is because they're reporting back to me and I'm choosing to see what they're seeing. So as a person is telling me they're at a big long table and it looks like this and there's these types of dishes, I'm letting myself be that person. And I'm tuning into what they're saying and I'm listening to them as if I was there. So I want you to start listening to people's stories as if you were there. So if you're having a conflict with somebody and they are telling you how they feel openly and honestly, instead of hearing it from your filtered perspective, I want you to A, say, I'm observing this experience. I'm going to be an observer, no judgment, no analyzation, just observing. And then I want you to say, and I'm going to see it from their perspective in your mind. So when they're telling their story about how they feel about your relationship with them, I want you to be them. I want you to see what they see and choose to see what they see. That can be hard because what's going to happen is you're going to see a mirror reflection of yourself, of how another person is perceiving the experience with you. But this perception is very important because all perspectives are valid. All perspectives are important, no matter how dark or light they are. They are all a part of this bigger picture because everyone is us. Everyone is a part of us. So if we refuse to see another person's perspective and just observe it, but we judge it, we're actually judging ourselves. We're judging the part of ourselves that we're holding on to the identity of that we don't want to let go. That's what creates conflict because no one's willing to listen to each other. And no one is willing to see it through the eyes of those people. They're wanting to see it through the filter of their own perspective. Why do you think there's so much conflict and it can't be resolved? Because people aren't tuning into their hearts, where compassion lives, where understanding lives, where acceptance lives. Because once we accept things and we accept another person without those judgments and analyzations, that is where we can constructively move forward because we're going to listen to them. And not only listen to them, we're going to step into their shoes. We're going to see it as they are speaking it. And from that point, you not only will develop your intuitive abilities and strengthen those abilities and strengthen those relationships, but we're actually going to make active healing for this planet. We're going to have active healing for this planet and actually change the world. So have fun. Have fun listening. Have fun being a part of another person's experience. Have fun letting go of judgments. Have fun simply observing your experience, because from that observational standpoint, you will begin to transform your relationships, your experiences. You will become more successful than you have ever imagined. People simply want to be heard. They want to know someone cares about their perspective. So observe and have fun. And I hope you enjoyed this short little episode with my how to series. I love you all. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. It does help other people see this material on if it's on YouTube. So thank you so much. Peace.